A very good afternoon to you, our viewers. You're welcome to another wonderful episode of Punch Sports Extra. My name is Shegun Odunayo. Of course, it's going to be a bumper package here this morning. I have with me my co-anchor, co-analyst, and co-driver who is an AIPS World nominee. From being AIPS African winner to World nominee, I know only two Nigerians who got nominated, himself and somebody else who even used to work here. So it's about the punch culture, because a current winner and a world nominee. Very quickly, before we go into the show, the meat of the show, Biodun, AIPS African winner, world nominee, potential world winner. You think they smell better?
It's just the work we put in.
Yeah.
Thank God for the platform that we have and the push that we get every now and then to continue to chase the stories that will put us there.
It doesn't have to be 50 stories. One good story, that's all you need. One win, that is all Eric Chelle needs to get the hearts of Nigerians are flocking around him. And it's the biggest picture on Punch Sports Extra front page this morning. Unfortunately, that win gave so much euphoria and everyone was celebrating and jubilating. TikTok videos were flying all over. X, it's now X. X videos of several Super Eagles players with a lot of journalists and social media content creators. But the doors have been closed. Yes, Eric Chelle said he doesn't want to be carried away with the euphoria of the moment, especially after the razzmatazz on social media after we defeated Rwanda in their home. And he has closed the doors to journalists, content creators, visitors, any kind of doors, whatever thoughts or doors your words are going to be ending with, because he wants to be concentrating and he wants his boys to be have their minds fully on the game to come up tomorrow against Zimbabwe. Biodun, they won the first one. He has another one to go. We need all 6 points out of these two games encounters.
Yeah. From this, I saw it coming. As at last week.
Was this a good or bad move?
Not a bad move.
Was it a good move? People spent their money to Uyo.
to Uyo.
And we have more. I know somebody that didn't go to Rwanda, Kigali, and he's going to Uyo. And then you have blocked them from.
I saw this thing coming. As at last week, even while our team was mapping out strategies on how to get stories, content, and all of that, we envisaged that a coach that is coming to salvage our World Cup campaign will definitely want to restrict access to the players. If you are going to get anything super exclusive from any player in the Super Eagles, you probably have someone who will sneak you into their hotel rooms.
Wow. Like in the old days.
Like in the
when old journalists used to sneak
into players' rooms and all of that. So I saw journalists around the stadium yesterday. The best they could do was get shots of the team bus arriving and the players coming out of the vehicle, going into the stadium.
Wow.
Every other thing was seen on the snaps of those players. So
TikTok or nothing.
I don't blame the coach and Chelle. There's been so much that has been said about the barrage of visitors that we do see during Super Eagles matches. Recently, even Coach Austin Eguavon during his interim days was magnanimous enough to grant what we call a media day for journalists and content creators to come around and all of that. 3 hours of the day at their hotel room, they come down. And it goes on like that. But this time around, we knew it was not going to happen like that because this is real business. Whatever goes wrong here goes wrong until November 2025 when the qualifiers will be ending. So this man has to save his job, and this is one of the steps that he has to take, aside from the real job that he needs to do on the pitch.
Are the people a distraction? The journalists, those contents, if they don't, like somebody said, if they don't do those content, don't produce those contents, we will never get those interviews. We will never see Tolu Arokodare crying.
Meanwhile,
we will never see these things.
Meanwhile, the Super Eagles media team themselves have, they create loads of content.
Do they?
They create loads of content.
Giving us 15 seconds of Eric Chelle putting down the cones
and all that.
Is that what people want to see?
Those are not
people
what
want to see Victor Osimhen saying, I met him at the airport. I think those are the things people want to see.
But these things, sometimes they get too much. But mind you, journalists are not distractions because they know these things. But you need to ask anyone who has been to the Super Eagles camp in Uyo before. You know, there are some vlogs you will see, and you wonder if these people are really doing the same job as you are. If you're a journalist or a content creator, and you see some vlogs saying, follow me on this trip to Uyo, the way they start it. Follow me as I go cover the Super Eagles in Uyo, and you begin to wonder,
that's what the people want to watch. But that's, the funny thing is, that's what people of this time want to watch. But they want to follow you as you go to Uyo. If you put it like the whole kind of media, I mean, the way it used to be done in the past, you may just have your 222 views.
But even outside the pitch, shout out to Toyose Afolayan, who gave us one of the one of the best side stories you would ever see from a Super Eagles camp. Who would have thought that Victor Boniface gave an Akwa Ibom teenager his boots during the last AFCON qualifier against Rwanda, and the boy sold it to a Rwanda player for $100. So look at those kind of stories too. So if we can't even get access,
good human interest, human and good stories.
If we can't even get access to some of these players, let's get some of these side stories too that are making the rounds about that. And it's really interesting now to see that Uyo is buzzing now that the Super Eagles are. Last time we felt something like that was against Sao Tome and Principe. True. So it hasn't really felt like this. No thanks to the lukewarm way in which the World Cup qualifiers had been going on. So journalists are no distractions, but then there are visitors and all of that. There was a time I saw Kata Efe on the pitch side during the Super Eagles training.
Creator.
What kind of content creator is he?
Well, he makes everybody laugh, I guess.
Those guys are just coming in to just come and milk some of the numbers that they can get from the Super Eagles players as well. But when you are talking about content in the real text of it, we should be talking about interviews, maybe.
But we get those too.
We get those too. We should be talking about snippets, build up to trainings and all of that. But I don't know what a skit maker will come do in the camp.
We see the English team. You know, they are the king of razzmatazz when it comes to things.
We see the French team too.
We see the French team too.
We see the way
we see the kind of content.
But those are strictly done by
their guys,
by their media guys.
That's true. By the media guys
or journalists around them.
Yeah, that's true.
Not some extra. Some
guys,
some trying to make skits out of serious national team assignments.
All right, still sticking with the front page, just had to talk about that because somehow it has really become a big matter on and off social media. But of course, if you ask any Nigerian who gave the first goal of the Eric Chelle campaign, I think everybody will tell you Victor Osimhen, but not many persons remember that the man who gave the assist to Victor Osimhen is the present and current, of course, African Footballer of the Year. Lookman, yes, Ademola Lookman, who is said to have gotten the interest of the Blues. Chelsea are said to have been interested in signing Ademola Lookman. Biodun Ademola Lookman to Chelsea.
You know the interesting thing about this story is this picture that we see where they are.
The combo, the love.
Osimhen has been on the radar of Chelsea since God knows when. Now, they are even talking about Ademola Lookman, who has been linked with Liverpool, with
Manchester
United, PSG, every big club in Europe. Now, imagine having this kind of combination at Stamford Bridge. It's going to be fire, but I don't see it happening anyways.
All right, he said he doesn't see it happening. Of course, there's also Victor Osimhen there. Reports have it that we don't even know. Biono has said it all. He's being wanted by A, B, C, D, E. Somebody even credited the statement to Trustekong saying that he would definitely end up in England next season. But
I think that's the only certain thing. I think he's coming to the Premier League. Where? We don't know.
All right, let's quickly talk about the Super Eagles game. That was the biggest thing on everybody's mind. Just a couple of days ago, we wanted to know what Eric Chelle was going to do. We wanted to know what his first 11 was going to look like. We wanted to see the compactness or otherwise of the team. Everybody wanted to know the kind of flair the team was going to have, especially with the players he called, controversy with some of the players he dropped, controversy with some of the players that made it into the team. At the end of the day, Hitman Victor Osimhen on board again to give all 3 points to the Super Eagles with his 2 goals.
It had to be him. He has missed the previous 4 matches of the qualifiers, and he came back, showed us how important he is to the team in just 45 minutes. I dare say it, we probably don't need him again. We didn't need him again in the second half of that game. And at some point, he felt like, oh, this team doesn't even need coaching because there's just this abundance of quality in that squad that was assembled by the coach. There are questions everywhere about why didn't this person come, why did this person start, and all of that. But I think this is a team. The Super Eagles, they've got to a point that everybody now kind of over-understand their role, especially when it comes to getting these World Cup tickets. Just like, it's one thing to perhaps understand what you need to do. But when you know it a lot, and you just had to do your job as quickly as possible. That was what we did against Rwanda. There weren't going to be many chances in that game, but the 2 chances that we got as quickly as possible in that game, we took it, and that was all. I didn't expect anything less in the second half. Chances were few and far between. I wasn't surprised about that. So it was only a matter of time before we will get to see. Maybe people are still looking for the way maybe they are still kind of fantasizing about a particular way they want the Super Eagles to play. But this is not the time. What we need right now.
Did you play well on the day? Did we play well?
Yes, we did. We did play well, and that's what is very important. But if you still want to compare what the Mali team was doing under Chile with what the Super Eagles are doing now, maybe they are still a little bit different. But what is important to the Super Eagles right now is results, not how we get the results this time around. So I think with time, this is a team that will grow. Personally, I've not been really confident about the Super Eagles until last Friday. When I saw them against Rwanda. So I felt like, okay, this is a job that they could do, and let's just see how well they go. By the time we get to see them in November, December during the AFCON, they will be a team another level entirely. Okay,
very quickly, the attack. We all know Victor Osimhen's standards can't be compromised at all. Even on his off days, he's still brilliant. But Ademola Lookman, Victor Osimhen's combination, we saw it at AFCON, we saw it again. Then there's Samuel Chukwueze, who many persons, including myself, felt shouldn't have started, but I'm not the manager. But somehow up front, those guys were able to do the damage. Both of them getting assists talking about Lookman and Chukwueze, and of course the point man getting the brace. Do we have a fantastic pairing up front, or do we still need some touches?
With what we have, I think we can still do a very good mix of how we set up these players. If you notice very well, Samuel Chukwueze was giving more of a midfield role.
But he was popping up a lot at his usual corner.
His usual position, you know, because even whether you are playing in any part of the midfield, there is always a side that you are going to fall into. Maybe the left side of the midfield or the right side. So he might have felt more comfortable on that side, and that was why it was easy for him to just drop that kind of pass that Victor Osimhen stole from that defender as well. You know, so he must have been comfortable there, pairing them up front. Maybe if you notice too, we had some holes in our midfield that day because we had 2 men.
We are coming to that middle of the park because it is always a very controversial
So whatever we were going to pair up front will be determined by what we have in the middle. We had Ademola Lookman on the pitch, we had Moses Simon on the pitch, and we had Samuel Chukwueze on the pitch. If we have an extra body in midfield, one of those 3 guys will have to sit on the bench.
Moses Simon was very off on the day.
He's coming back from an injury.
I think he was also tracking back in many times. He did. I think he did better in that aspect than Samuel Chukwueze because he knew how to.
He knew how to use the flanks.
Yes, help out is number 3. Pop up, but he wasn't doing the attacking beauty that we saw under Iguavon at that Nations Cup. I think 2021 Nations Cup. In Cameroon. He was always at the back, but the middle of the park. Alex Iwobi. Many Nigerians feel he has not been deployed in the region he should be, especially when he plays for Fulham. So he comes alive playing for Fulham. Whenever he's playing for the Super Eagles of Nigeria, it looks like he's lost.
It looks like, let me start with Iwobi. When people started talking about it from Friday night, then I began to wonder, what exactly is Iwobi's position?
For the Super Eagles or for Fulham?
For the Super Eagles, what is his right position that we've not played him there? But the good thing I say about this guy is, put him anywhere, he will give you that role. So you will now want to excuse it on the fact that he's playing to the coach's instruction. At Fulham, you either see him on the left side of the midfield in a 4-2-3-1 formation. He doesn't get the deeper midfield role.
Yes, he doesn't.
He doesn't. But we gave him a deeper midfield role in the Super Eagles. So when we have Ademola Lookman or Moses Simon who can man the left side of the wing for us in any formation that we have, we are not going to put a Lookman there. And we are not going to put an Iwobi there. Maybe you might want to put him as a number 8 to roam just behind the striker.
I think that's like his perfect.
That would be more perfect for him too, but when you want to use an attacking striker, players with flair, and Iwobi won't suit a 4-3-3, he might just suit a 4-2-3-1 in that kind of system. So, like I said earlier, everything has to do with who we want up front and who we want in the midfield. So if I was Eric Chelle, he started what looked like more like a 4-4-2 diamond or a 4-2-3-1 that day.
Yes.
If he was going for a 4-3-3, definitely one of Simon or Lookman
would have been dropped,
or even Chukwueze would have been dropped. But if you notice, we use the flanks mostly that day. And I think if they wanted to go by that style, Iwobi will not fit into any of those roles than those deeper midfield roles. And I'm even I'm very convinced that if someone like Fisayo Dele Bashiru was very fit, Iwobi might not even have started the previous game, because if you are looking for a player who understands the deeper midfield role better,
give it to Bashiru.
You definitely want to play Bashiru, and he knows how to go from box to box as well. And if you wanted something more defensive, maybe Frank the Tank that we didn't even invite.
Or you deploy Alassane Yusuf, who eventually became a two towards the end of the
right
game.
Back towards the end of the game. So, and such kind of role by Alassane is why I said it's like the players now over-understand
the system,
what they have to do just to make everything work.
All right, before we go to talking about Zimbabwe tomorrow, because that's, of course, that's the next thing on board. Let's talk about Tolu Arokodare. That
tiny entertainment.
Yeah. that you know, he's been on our front page, Punch Sports Extra, a lot this year. At a point, it was almost like you were expecting to lose because he was always popping up.
And you eventually said it, that you probably have to thank,
of course,
Punch Sports Extra.
Because every time he was scoring, we were saying, I mean, seeing Punch Sports Extra front page was also who is Tolu Arokodare again. Then you see that he has been popping for Genk. But this is the question. Some persons felt he didn't exactly play as a 9 coming on. Of course, some persons have said he was simply playing to instructions of the coach. But one thing I think I noticed was the fact that whenever Nwabali was going to kick out and he will point to him, it's coming to your chest, it will go to his chest. It's coming to your head, it will get to his head.
Hold on, play.
That means
it's simple.
Somebody said he's another Onuachu, but in a different form. How good was he on the night?
I would rate him just mid, 5/10. One, not so much time. But if you look at how strict he was with the execution of that game plan, Nwabali was virtually throwing every ball to him, and he was coming to his chest.
Exactly.
On his head. All he had to do was pick a winger who was running on the side, and maybe flick the ball,
drop it for him,
or try to chest it to a midfielder that is coming from the second ball and all of that. So he understood that job very well. He must have beaten himself a little bit on that day that, okay, this is not the kind of debut
for me to score
that he would have wanted. But then he would have, maybe that's why he cried too, that finally I played for the Super Eagles.
He said he cried because
Victor Osimhen had come to meet him. Personally, I kind of beat myself that I didn't look up to Tolu Arokodare from a very long time. I can't remember, we've done countless stories about this guy's performance in Genk, and he had led the cover of our paper on a number of times. But I beat myself that I didn't even check that his name rang so much bell that I couldn't even fix the puzzle and link him with his elder brother owning a record label, him playing at the MPFL La Liga under 15 promises some years ago, trying to do music before going into before he was convinced by Shira Ayila to say, okay, this is what you would be able to do. You know, it takes a lot for someone who is who was born with a silver spoon.
Yeah. They said they used to do, you know, lots of stories used to drop in my legacy pitch from I mean, you know, when you blow in Nigeria, you will hear your story.
Your story, definitely, you would definitely.
All right, let's talk about tomorrow's game against Zimbabwe. Eric Chelle has closed all the doors, so there's nobody distracting them right now, and we need all the 3 points in UU. Somebody, I think it was Wale Adigun's tweet that I saw, that said that somebody told him, probably told him that it's games like this Uyo game, when everybody is relaxed, when we are all calm, we are celebrating.
Now when you go Chelle.
Now when you always Chelle. So, how risky is this game?
Very. Because after Rwanda, I thought about it too. The next thing is how to deal with the pressure of playing at home. It's kind of different. And I know the players will feel it too. But good thing is, no disrespect to Zimbabwe. We are playing a team that most of their players will not even lace the boot of our players individually. So sounds a little bit easy then, but then the pressure of coming back home, they can only ride on the confidence that they have built from the game against Rwanda going into this game. And that is why I said it's important. And Toyin Bitoye will not be wrong if he says he has seen this thing play out right in front of his eyes before, as someone who's worked closely with the Super Eagles over the years. So it's on Chelle and it's on the boys now. I expect them to be as fluid as they can be they should not just make it's up to them to make the job easier for themselves or make it much difficult than they want to them. Just like the approach against Rwanda. Get the result as
get the kill and let everybody enjoy football.
45 minutes is even too much to do what you want to do. Do it as quickly as possible, and let's see different methods that will be used to just see off the game and start thinking about the next game.
All right, very quickly move away from football, away from the Super Eagles of Nigeria to Formula One. For the McLaren team, it was a fantastic weekend for them. McLaren 1, McLaren 2, Oscar Piastri getting on podium and, of course, winning that. 2 was the man we were talking about last week, Nando Loris, who eventually couldn't win this, but for the McLaren family, a good one for them. 1 and 2, Norris leading the chart at the moment with 44 points. And talk about the man. When you talk about Formula 1, you talk about Lewis Hamilton. Didn't exactly finish well for him. Finished 6th.
And he was still disqualified.
And he was disqualified at the end of the day. You know, you just look at what is happening in Formula 1 this season and you think, Max Verstappen, what is happening to you this season?
Exactly.
This is your time. I remember 2017-18, he was the baby boy of Formula 1, and they said, oh, the big boys are still there. And then when you think it's supposed to be his time, he's had a fantastic few seasons. Yeah. But, I mean, when it's your time, it is your time. You grind it for 7 years. But there's a Nando Loris somewhere, but this time around it's Oscar Piastri in Australia.
And truly, for a man that has prevented Sir Lewis Hamilton from taking a 7th championship, isn't it? I think you'll be able to own your ground. But I think we are in for a different season this time around. Look at it. It's McLaren that is doing all the leads now. And we can't even hear about the defending champions, Max Verstappen. And when you think Lewis Hamilton will see a kind of rebirth at Ferrari, it seems not to be taken yet. He won the sprint race on Friday, and it felt like, oh, Hamilton is back.
Exactly. Now, I was saying it. I was just, okay. I think I was discussing with the producer, and I said, everybody saw him on Friday and thought, wow, this is Hamilton's race in Shanghai. Everybody's going to feel it, but we didn't.
But just
feel
yesterday,
it,
we was talking about the Ferrari engine. So, so I think there's still a lot. The season is still long. It's just the second.
Of course. It's just the second race of the season. Of course.
Maybe good for him that Verstappen himself has not ticked yet. So maybe
because when he clicks and he's hitting it, you may never get him again.
And again, Mercedes, since Hamilton left, there's been Valtteri Bottas and all of that. We don't really know. Their drivers have not really come under the line.
I think it's still early days.
Yeah,
it's still early days because just 2 races. It's going to be a very long season. How many races can you podium? How many can you win? I mean, we saw from Friday now that it's not about winning the Friday races because everyone assumed that. I actually assumed he was back because I thought it's time for him now. Senior man is back, but gross.
And maybe we felt the change of constructor was what he needed, and having moved from Mercedes to Ferrari, I expected something to change.
It's a better car, I mean a faster car, and you know, even when it was not, having a car as fast as this, it was grinding out results. So what could have happened?
So it's up to his team. You know, every week in, week out, when he drives, he will tell them this and all of that. So and trust these constructors. As long as it is in line with F1 rules, they'll keep making every amendment. But what I just need to, I'm not sure if Ferrari is the one that manufacture their own engine or they get engine from other manufacturers.
They manufacture the engine.
So I think it's up to them. They should be able to make all the adjustments, and let's see
what happens. All right, very quickly, we move over to tennis. This man is not getting tired anytime soon. He's still conquering and conquering and conquering. Novak Djokovic, in fact, he has gone ahead of Rafael Nadal when it comes to winning 1,000 Masters. There's nothing about play for these people. You call them for Grand Slam, they win it. Call them for 500, they win it. You call them for 1,000, you call them for Lagos Open, they win it. Novak Djokovic, remember the first Australian Open, the first Grand Slam of the season, wasn't perhaps as spectacular as we expected him to be, but he's back. Miami Open, and he's ready. The season is going to be interesting.
To be honest, it was looking like he was spectacular at the Australian Open.
Was he?
Until he got to the last 4, isn't it?
Well, for him, last four should be warm-up stage.
Yeah, it should be warm-up stage. But it was the way he was going in that tournament before he pulled out injured. He was really looking spectacular, and I thought that it is terrain after all.
You know, one thing happens to these big boys. Yes. One thing happens to these big boys is when they begin to pull out because of injuries. You know, tells you started with Rafael Nadal, Roger Federer. You know, you just get to that level, you just pull out. And we're thinking perhaps it's in Novak's time too to experience this signing out feel. But if you ask me, Novak Djokovic is not declining, at least not yet, because he's still very much on top of his game. The only thing is, if he's been able to manage his body really well, you know, some of these guys do not have gone for Miami Open.
Yeah.
I mean, the likes of Rafa and because
they want to reserve,
prioritize their strength, their energy for the big games, the Grand Slams.
But this is still April. The next Grand Slam will be coming up by May, June already. So these are the kind of games that will also keep them in shape as well. So as long as he's not injured, he will definitely want to participate and just make up something. And to me, the way I perceive Novak Djokovic is someone who is trying to make a statement. You know, he has surpassed everything that should be surpassed. But the GOAT debate is still there. That who is the greatest tennis player of all time and all of that. People want to give it to Roger Federer in terms of charisma and all of that. But I guess Djokovic wants to be really emphatic about what every one of them has been.
He has the highest number of Grand Slams.
Every one of them has been able to do on the courts.
I think it's because he's not the favorite of many people.
Yeah,
because people still pick Rafa or Roger.
He's like they would just naturally pick
number 3 in people's heads.
He's number 3 in people's head, but people need to realize that this is the guy that came to unseat the two of them, even when their rivalry was at the peak. He just came into their meeting and told, "Hey, Rafa, go this way. Roger, go this way."
And people saw him as, who is this guy?
Who is this guy? And he kept on firing until he achieved the same numbers as them and even surpassed them. So I think he's still going as strong as he is because he wants to really make that emphatic statement. And if you ask me, this guy is not declining yet.
All right. Emma Raducanu, the British, into the last 16. You know, one thing, though, about the ladies is that one day on, it's more like a one day on, one day off thing. This person is big today, next tomorrow this person is big. But Emma is back. Good one for after winning a couple of seasons ago, after winning, was it now, the Wimbledon, after she won the Grand Slam Wimbledon. And everyone thought, oh, perhaps this young lady, but somehow she went away. Not exactly away, but wasn't really doing big things. But she's in the last 16 after our opponent retired.
We can't say the same thing about world number 5, Madison Keys, who was stunned by a teenager. Just in the tournament. But you know the exciting
Remember I was just saying it about the ladies. She eventually won a Grand Slam in January at the Australian Open. Everybody was happy for her. And look at what's happening in Miami Open.
The exciting thing about the women's game is that I think it puts all of them almost on the same level. So you keep wondering, okay, who is the best? Who will be able to do this? Who will be able to do that when they come up to the big stage? But at the end of the day, it all comes down to perfection. Eventually. But I'm looking forward to a time when we'll be able to pull out one of them, just like we had Serena
for years.
Let's just have one of them and say,
I don't think that will happen. I think it makes it more interesting, though. Very quickly move over to the UEFA Nations League yesterday. France against Croatia. They made me sleep very late yesterday. That game was not going to end anytime soon because France found a way to come back from the first 2-0 deficit, equalized, got into extra time. Nobody could save them except penalties, and step up the big goalkeeper for AC Milan. Of course, remember that Croatian goalkeeper, the last World Cup, that guy is very, very fantastic. Some of his players managed to score some penalties. And then a Bayern Munich man lost his own penalty. And another Bayern Munich man, Diok Upamecano, scored his. And they qualified France to the next stage. That game was fire. First and second leg, fire.
From the first leg when Croatia had won, it looked like, France were really undone. But one of the most important personalities for Croatia really didn't turn up last night, and that was Luka Modric, giving the ball away.
He lost the ball. I think both goals. I think he lost the first one and the second one as well. So
he didn't come to the party last night, and they had to pay dearly for it. And you know, when it's penalties, it's anyone's game. But when you are playing at the Parc des Princes too, you don't expect anything that the Les Blues will definitely want to impress. But talk about Kylian Mbappe too.
Oh my goodness.
Captain motivator.
Put everything into it.
He wasn't on the scholarship, but
he was
putting every bit of it into it. And maybe we can say the same thing of his role model at the other side too, who overturned another deficit against them for Portugal.
Yes. After missing a penalty. And then that goal was very technical because he had to bend it very close to Kasper Schmeichel. Eventually, they went into extra time as well, but they won 5-2 at the end.
Ronaldo's goal is what some commentators will say he shot from an acute angle.
Exactly.
Some mathematical commentators. Because on the replay, I saw the initial shots, the way it came, and the way Kasper parried it towards. If he probably knew Ronaldo was standing somewhere there, he probably would have not parried that ball
down there
in that direction, because Ronaldo could get.
I think the ball hit him again on the way out, and then Ronaldo was just probably lucky to just be there and bend the ball into the
straight
post.
into the net.
I mean,
was it last night that he got the Guinness World Record for the number of wins in men's football?
And then Netherlands lost as well to Spain, with Lamine Yamal missing his penalty, with his the banter with what's the name of this man before his post on Twitter, on Instagram.
One of the Dutch legends.
I can't remember his name right now. I mean, just escapes my mind, and all of that interesting. But Lamine Yamal, what a talent! Doesn't want to slow down anytime soon.
I don't think it's about slowing down. I think it's about the boy living up to every hype that comes with his name.
All right, I will be ending the show now, but as we end the show, we are going to be giving you this quote in retro sports. And as we are going to be rounding off now on Punch Sports Extra, we're going to be giving you a retro sport, taking you back in time and giving you a very quotable quote or sportable quote. And as every Monday, as we close the show, is going to be coming up. Yes, the one for today is going to be coming from Muhammad Ali, and I think it was in 1972 or something like that. Really not really coming up right now, but we have to end the show now. We have to end the show. Very big thank you for coming on the show today. Very quickly, what's your prediction for tomorrow's game?
An easy win for Nigeria, maybe 3-0 should be. We need the goals as much as possible too. You never can tell. We didn't even pay attention to what South Africa and Benin might be able to do. That game is as important as our game.
Indians are asking for a draw, and it's happening at the same time, 5 p.m.
Exactly.
I think General should pick up.
So if I was in Nigeria, I'd probably be watching South Africa versus Benin Republic safe.
To see what happens. They should just give us a draw, 1 point for everybody. Then we move close.
1 point for everybody. That takes South Africa to 11, Benin Republic to.
We'll be 9 if we win. I think Benin Republic could be a point less than us or something.
Benin Republic will be on 8. They are on 8 currently. They will be on 9.
We'll also be on 9.
Then if you get 3 points now, we'll now be on 9 points. That means there will just be 2 points between us
and Benin and South Africa. And then our destiny is in our hands.
Then Rwanda, I trust Rwanda to beat Lesotho. So I expect that Rwanda will go as high as 10 points too tomorrow.
Alright, that's how we end the show for you guys today. Hopefully we'll come back next Monday by the grace of God to talk about this game coming up tomorrow, and then that will be in past tense. Then hopefully we'll have gotten all 3 points. Have a great week, guys. Stay out of trouble. My name is Shegun, and I'm signing out. God bless you.